Hey, I'm Shane Milach from imimpact.com and welcome to a shockingly honest review of Premise. So Premise is a WordPress plugin that is built to, well, primarily to create landing pages such as sales pages and opt-in pages and so on. And it also comes with a feature, a membership feature. So basically you can use this plugin to create, let's say, a sales page, and you can also use this plugin to sell your content and make sure that only your customers get access to your membership content, like your whatever, your report that you're selling, your videos that you're selling, or your downloads that you're selling. All right, so let's take a look at what it actually does. This is Premise installed on a blog. When you've installed and activated the plugin, you'll get a few new menu items here in WordPress, which is basically the settings, the landing pages where you can create your various pages, and the membership component. Let's quickly jump ahead and look at a page created in Premise. Okay, so this is a Premise page. Here, ignore the admin bar at the top. That's just because I'm logged in. So here you can have a header image like this one here, and then you have your headline, and you have your content, and you have opt-in, oh no, not opt-in, content boxes, styled boxes. And I've just made like a dummy sales page here with add to cart button with some typical sales page elements. This is the kind of page you can quite easily create using Premise. And to start out with, you'd really start with creating a style. So you have a style preset, and you can create as many of them as you want, and you can then apply these styles to your pages. And here we encounter one of the first problems. We have these settings, and you can change all kinds of stuff. You can change like the background color. So let's say I'll make something like a dark blue background, maybe something like that. Doesn't matter, probably won't look good, but never mind. Or you can have an image. You can set an image as the background, and you can set your font sizes, font styles. Let's change this as well. And then you have all of these menus to make all of these different adjustments. Now, one of the problems is that it's all essentially blind editing. So the only way to see what actually happens when I make a change like this is to save the settings here and then load one of my landing pages in a tab, and I actually have to go and open one. So here's a sample page, and now you can see, okay, this is the background I selected, and the font here has changed. And well, it's a bit clumsy to do it like this because it's essentially blind, and there are tons of options, and also the labeling isn't always great. So here it says color. It took me a while to figure out that that's actually the font color that we're talking about, nothing to do with the background anymore. So yeah, you have all these options, and as you can see, I mean, here, content wrap, content area, background shadow, none. I don't even know what I can do here. What can I, what's the other? Can I say yes? Or is it a color input? I don't know. I don't know what this background shadow thing is, and it's not very helpful. So, and yeah, I can change all of this stuff. Margin bottom, let's say I can make a larger border. That's pretty obvious what's going to happen. I can change the width of the whole thing. Okay, it's also pretty obvious what's going to happen. But as you can see, some of the options, it's just not always that clear. What exactly am I editing, and how will my landing page end up looking unless I go and check it by reloading this page again? So I think the problem here is there are many options. You can make a lot of different styles. You can make a lot of different things happen here. But I don't think a lot of people will have the patience to actually go through all of this stuff, figure out what it's all about, and really make their page look exactly the way they had in mind. If we look at the landing page editor itself, you can see here is your usual WordPress content editor, and you get a few extras. One of them is that you can insert sample copy, this is a nice addition. You can have it's basically like a guideline. Here's how they recommend you write copy. That's quite nice. And there's also this copywriting assistance here, so there's also a bunch of tips on copywriting. It's quite nice that they built that in. Another thing they have, which I quite like, is that they have a huge library of images. So I can go here and it loads up these images. And as you can see, well, up here you can see how many images there are. There are tons of hand-drawn icons, badges, buttons, arrows, all kinds of stuff that you can choose from. And many of them are, firstly, quite nicely done, like these hand-drawn things here. And they are universally useful, like the money back guarantee or just arrows pointing at different things. It's quite useful to have that kind of thing to use in your content editing. I was quite surprised, however, apart from this, about the lack of styling options. In similar landing page builders for WordPress, you have tons of options for creating testimonial boxes, order form boxes and all that kind of thing, and all of that is missing from Premise. And another quite strange thing is, if I want to put something in a content box, basically there's one type of box. You set one box style in the style settings, and then you just have that one type of box that you can use on your page. And that's why on this page here, all of the boxes look the same, right? And it looks a bit, it's a bit repetitive. And that's because, as far as I can tell, there's only one kind of box you can have per page. Which is a bit strange. The other thing is, it's strange the way you add them, because what you do is you click on this button here and it just goes put your notice text here. All right, so I select this. Let's say I want this as inside a box, right? And I put it here. Okay, update. Let's look at this page. And here you can see, oh, somehow I ended up with two boxes. I'm not sure why this happened, but okay, I have two boxes saying the same thing. That's kind of strange. But as you can see in the editor, there's no indication of where my content box is. And if I go, well, all right, let's say I want this here inside a box, and I select it and click on this, it actually removes the text. And so what I have to do is I have to undo that. I have to copy this or cut it and then place the box here and then paste it in. And again, you know, on the front end here, or no, on the back end, on the editor, there's no indication of where my content boxes are, which doesn't make editing an easier task. I'm going to show you a few more things from the samples on the Premise page itself, so I don't have to do all the editing myself. So here's one thing I really like, is there's a social share gate option, so you can give something away or offer a download of something in return for social share. So you can encourage social sharing and get a bit of viral traffic. This is something I've used successfully myself in the past, so I'm quite fond of this feature, and it's built right in. Then we have, for example, they have this feature here for pricing boxes or for pricing plans. It's just really unappealing looking, if you ask me. It just doesn't look that great. And another thing is the opt-in pages you can create. They don't really have page templates. They don't really have different page templates like something like Optimized Press has. So you can create squeeze pages or lead generation pages, but they look like this, right? They look like something like this. And these opt-in forms just aren't very appealing. And you can do a bit of your own styling and so on to try and make them look better, but really it's nothing like what you get in, let's say, Optimized Press or Insta Builder, where you select a template and it creates a really good looking, nice looking lead generation page for you, and you just add the content. It's much more like manual work involved here, and it ends up looking, well, a bit lame. What I was really disappointed with Premise is that I really like the look of this, of the website where Premise is sold. You have this really cool feature here with the sliding menu. You have this nice background. You have everything. It looks really good as well. This home page, you know, with these graphics and so on, looks really good. And what I was expecting was that this was built on Premise. I was expecting that you can easily build a page like this using Premise, and you can't. I don't think it's possible at all to create something like this using Premise. You can maybe come close, but if you want an idea of what you can actually do with Premise, you should look at these showcase pages where, well, you can see it's, you know, these pages look pretty lame compared to the actual Premise sales page. All right, so before I keep rambling on, here are 3 things I like about Premise. Number 1, they include tons of really good graphics. That's very useful, and especially if you're on a low budget, you don't want to pay designers or pay for the rights to use these images. Here you get a whole lot of images to use for all kinds of purposes. That's very cool. There's a membership component built in. Now, the membership component is very, very rudimentary, okay? It's not comparable to like a full membership site plugin or script or something like Digital Access Pass. But to get started, this is good enough. You can link it up to your PayPal. You can also link it up to AuthorizeNet. So you can charge people. You can create members that can that get access to your membership content, and you can integrate it with Aweber and MailChimp. So it's not great, but it's good to have. It's okay to start with. And the social share gate that I showed, I think that's quite a nice feature, and it's good that they included that. 3 things I don't like about Premise is the whole blind customization and blind editing. I think there must be a better way to do that. And the thing here is it's necessary. You have to do the blind customization because there are no templates. There are no like pre-styled things you can use that will just look good by themselves, except the one standard setting, but you don't want your pages to look the same as everyone else's, right? Number 2, a lack of styling options. Something like Optimize Press or InstaBuilder just comes with far more options for styling, for creating different boxes, different kinds of bullet points, templates, and so on. And that's just missing from Premise. And thirdly, the price. Premise is pretty expensive. It's pretty expensive. And with other options available on the market that do everything or most things significantly better than Premise, I really don't see why you would buy Premise. And that is my verdict on Premise. It's not terrible, it's not horrible, but it's also not particularly good. And there are simply better choices out there. And that's it for this review. Thank you for watching. I'm Shane from imimpact.com, and I'll talk to you soon.